Thank you, Donald. What a privilege. If you don't know how to define versatility or excellence, you just heard it. It's amazing. And the smiles that this group has when he plays is really something to see. Donald told you something about the geography of Guyana. It's just beyond Venezuela. Guyana is the only English-speaking country in South America. It's the old British Guyana. The second small country down is the old Dutch Guyana, now Suriname. And then the third one down, before you get to Brazil, is French Guyana, still a French colony. So now you've caught up on your South American geography. We started here from Fellowship Lutheran Church in Guyana in 1996. Guyana first got their open and transparent elections in 1992. So we've been walking with them in this journey now 17 years out of their 20 years of independence. During the 1950s, when it was popular for countries to give up colonies, England did the same thing, except there was an anxiety created by the United States and England together that communism was going to enter South America through Guyana. The logic of it is not very clear, but they rescinded the freedom that they gave Guyana, and we, along with Great Britain, put in a leader and then forgot about him. Through that leadership, the whole country went downhill. And over the next 25 years, things became increasingly worse. Many professionals left. Most all of the music teachers left. There are times when something big starts with a small question. This evening, as an example, Donald said on one of the 4 trips that he was with us, he said, "Would you like me to do a fundraiser for you?" Here we are. And he recognizes, too, that the way we can be down there is through the kind and generous support of people who have a sensitivity to what we have here, recognizing that others do not. We first took a medical team down there in 1996, and out of that followed construction and a whole series of other experiences. Another small question started. Vicki Smith, who is our Director of Music Ministries here in 1998, asked me, "Do the kids like music?" I'd never even thought about it. So I said to her, "Why don't you go down and see once what you might find there, what should we be doing with music?" Out of that, all of this has happened, out of that simple question. Since that time, we've had pretty much every summer, especially graduates from St. Olaf College in Minnesota, down there for the summer to teach. On one of the trips, we learned about the Guyana Music Festival. I'd never heard about it in all the times I'd been down there. And it's an English tradition. Donald knew about it because of Trinidad. And so out of that process, we helped them revive the Guyana Music Festival. We're going to see some pictures here in just a minute about that. And out of all of this experience, a new thing is starting to develop. The Guyana Lutheran Music Academy is going to be established here in the next couple of years. That gives you some of the history and some of what all of this has meant out of the simple question that Vicki asked. Do the kids want some music?
Greetings, friends. My name is Eric Sayer. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I attended St. Olaf College, where I studied music education, trumpet, and jazz piano, and was vice president of the juggling club.
Hi, my name is Michael Merkerson. I grew up in Laurel, Maryland, and I also attended St. Olaf College, where I majored in music, played trombone in the orchestra, and was active in campus ministries.
Guyana, previously known as British Guyana, is a country located on the northeastern coast of South America. With a square mileage comparable to that of the state of Minnesota, Guyana is the 3rd smallest country on the continent. Its population is approximately 770,000, of which 90% reside on its narrow coastal strip. The country's diverse population is primarily composed of the descendants of enslaved or indentured laborers from Africa and India, respectively. The country's religious beliefs are also diverse, with approximately 57% of the country being Christian, 28% Hindu, and 9% Muslim. About 15 years ago, Fellowship Lutheran Church in Tulsa, Oklahoma began a mission partnership with the Evangelical Lutheran Church in Guyana to help the church provide service and resources to the Guyanese community. Fellowship's mission program has organized over 40 trips to Guyana since 1996, which have focused on construction, health and medicine, literacy, computer skills, and music education. There was a lot of work to be done before our arrival in Guyana. Without knowing too much of what was needed, we assumed we should bring everything we could. Throughout the fall of 2010, Michael and I collected over 80 donated instruments and countless supplies and repair equipment. We packed everything into 4 large wooden crates that were trucked to Miami and then shipped by boat to Guyana, traveling a total distance of just over 3,400 miles. Starting in January of 2011, Michael and I spent 5 months in Guyana, the longest of Fellowship's trips to date, splitting time between the capital city of Georgetown and the smaller town of New Amsterdam. Working with the ELCG, we taught music to dozens of church groups as well as several local schools. Classes included vocal technique and choral singing, keyboard, guitar, brass lessons, and general music. Our first 2.5 months were spent in New Amsterdam, a town of about 30,000 people. We taught just over 300 people a week in various churches and schools. During the day, we taught at New Amsterdam Multilateral School, a secondary school just a 5-minute walk from our home. We taught all 5 of the Form 1 classes, which amounts to 150 enthusiastic 11 and 12-year-olds. Every afternoon, we taught a group from a different church, including several Lutheran parishes in the region, as well as other churches in town. Most of the church groups were 15 to 20 people and ranged in age from 7 to 70, oftentimes in the same class. With some of the groups made up mostly of adults and others more heavily children, one of our biggest challenges was adapting our curriculum to such varied students. At the same time, we enjoyed getting to meet people from so many walks of life, and our students across the board were always enthusiastic learners. At the end of our time in New Amsterdam, all of our church groups gathered at Ebenezer Lutheran Church to give a final concert of singing. During the concert, each group got a chance to show off a solo piece they had learned, and then all 120 singers packed the stage for 2 final pieces in a mass choir. All of the groups performed beautifully, and we were so proud of them. We spent the second half of our trip in Georgetown, the capital city of Guyana. We quickly adjusted to a faster-paced life and immediately discovered where a couple of guys could grab some pizza. We taught 7 new churches in and around the city and traveled to most of our churches by minibus, but occasionally by boat.
Yeah, try one time, ready, go. Good, now let's try it on top. 1, 2, ready, go.
We were also fortunate enough to get involved in the Guyana Musical Arts Festival. We performed 2 pieces during the opening ceremony and officially opened the competition with a festive fanfare. Musicians of all ages competed in several categories, including male and female karaoke and steel pan solo. Besides teaching music, we also spent a fair amount of time learning how to cook Guyanese delicacies such as bake, roti, curry chicken, and my personal favorite, mid-thai. Michael and I also made it to a cricket match and took a day trip to Guyana's most prized natural landmark, Kaieteur Falls. At 741 feet, Kaicher is the largest single-drop waterfall in the world, about 4 times the size of Niagara Falls.
Although ours and other short-term music teaching trips have been well received, students are yearning for a more permanent opportunity to learn music in Guyana. The Lutheran Church in Guyana recently approved a plan to establish a full-time music school, the Guyana Lutheran Music Academy. Located in the town of New Amsterdam, it would provide year-long classes to the church and the whole community. Beginning in the fall of 2014, about 240 students will have the chance to spend 4 hours a week studying voice, keyboard, guitar, brass, and percussion. With a nominal fee of about $10 a month, the Academy will reach out to students who couldn't otherwise receive music education. Preparations are already underway. The next year will be full of exciting news as we seek out teachers, supporters, and our first full roster of students.
On behalf of Michael and I would like to extend our most heartfelt thanks to everyone involved in this mission. We would especially like to thank our generous instrument donors, Pastor Paul Munu, Pastor Diana Liverpool, Davy Ram, Dr. Irv Jansen, and the faithful, warm-hearted members of Fellowship Lutheran Church in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Thank you all so much for helping us bring such a necessary part of life to our friends in Guyana.
This is where your money's going, and it's going to make a difference. All of you, or most all of you, brushed your teeth this morning. You do that in Guyana too, but you can't use the water because it's not safe. We take for granted so many things. Clean water. I don't think any of you this evening wondered whether we would have electricity throughout this program. That's the case in Guyana. Even in Georgetown, you're never sure you can get through a program like this in the evening without electricity going off, and you're never sure how long it's going to be off. We don't want these youngsters not to have these opportunities, and starting with Vicky's question and taking up with Donald's offer to be here to do the fundraiser, we really appreciate you all coming out this evening. Donald, are you ready? Please. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Be generous, please. My connection with this, Trinidad is just 55 minutes flight from Guyana. And I see myself in so many of those faces 60 years ago. Yeah, 60 to 55 years ago. And I was blessed with having encouragement and opportunities, and even transferring from Trinidad to the U.S. to Oklahoma. This is where I came. I came to the U.S. specifically to go to ORU. So this is like my second hometown. I've spent more time. I've spent more than 2/3 of my life here. So. It's always refreshing when I go back, and please be generous. I'm going to just do one more section here. Let's see. I was fortunate to grow up. I am a PK. I'm a preacher's kid. Fortunate for that. Fortunate to grow up in a family that loved the Lord and sought to instill that into me. I was fortunate in growing up in a church where pretty much the instrumentalist. You played piano, you were expected to do things like offertories and come up with your own arrangements. So that's kind of my first love, and the thing that I love first in music, just the trying to craft things out, and that's what I'd like to do for you these next three, 4 numbers. Here's one that is, I guess I first learned it here when I first came to the U.S. It was wonderful, sung in a Baptist church by a Pentecostal composer. So couldn't be all that bad. This is Happiness is the Lord.